me of the old BMI teams, when Dan Earl ran matchup zone. And, they didn't go away. I thought we did a great job starting the game well. We got a lead. They made a run. They had a 3-point lead at half. And then we pushed it back up, and they made another run. And then we pushed it up again. And, man, you thought the game was about to close out, and it just wouldn't go away. And, that's a sign of a well-coached team and a sign of a group of guys that are willing to fight. And Johnson hit some crazy ones late and probably really got going. Obviously had 21, so didn't necessarily do a great job on him. But I did think we guarded him better this game than we did there. I still think it's the season high that we didn't score on. They put 91 on us up there, and we just did a horrible job guarding them. And it's a unique situation because they basically have 5 guards out there. I mean, they got one true post player, Stuckey, who comes off the bench. The rest of them are guards and forwards, and so you're out there, and we started 2 bigs, and so it's one of those situations where they put some pressure on your D to really be able to guard the bounce. At their place, man, they just destroyed us in the paint, destroyed us at the rim, and we actually scored a few more than we did tonight, but we didn't defend them worth a darn. So much better defensive performance tonight. It wasn't perfect by any stretch. First half they shot 34, second half they shot 48, which is that's a little too high for what we wanted. But the key for us was we didn't want to foul, and that's what we did a much better job of tonight. They only shot 10 free throws. Most of their conference wins, they're shooting 20 more free throws, and we had to guard them without fouling. And it's the reason why.
Does it seem like kind of sort of early in the second half, it was just kind of stagnant there for both teams for a while, and you wondered what's going to be the spark for either side? And I thought Ben Vanderwall provided that spark offensively, and then I think he had scored 6 straight points. And then you go down, your adult team picks up Nick for 3, and then Nick started. It's like a hand-off baton and a relay. And Nick kind of carried the offense there for a while after that. Can you speak to that little moment in time where you finally were able to get a little separation?
Yeah, for a little while, it looked like we could pass about as well as this guy right here. Looked like Jack was out there for a few, but Mom and Mac are out of town, so Daddy's got a little mad. So he came in the locker room and he won't let me go away, so he's joining us for the press conference. But you know what? Like we got off to a really good start. I mean, you look up and first 9 minutes of the game, we got 20. I'm like, okay, offense is clicking. We were trying to run more of our man stuff against the zone as opposed to zone offense. I thought we were cutting them, and I thought we were doing a good job. The ball felt like it was moving, and then they got down, and just like good teams do, they intensified their defense, and they really started getting underneath us, and really I thought we did a horrible job just handling the pressure. I mean, a couple times, just literally threw the ball right to them. I mean, wing entry right there, just threw it to them and they go and laid up. And I thought they were able to change the game with some of their ball pressure. And look, when you get pressured, you got to put the ball down, right? Like you got to be able to drive it, you got to play on 2 feet, you got to make good decisions with it. There's usually an advantage behind it if you can put the ball down, you can cut it, you can move it. But when you play off your back foot and you're passive, and all of a sudden you're kind of careless with the ball, we're jumping in the air, like we're not doing the things that we're taught to do, which is play on 2 feet. Look for cutters, look for pivots. I thought we got a little bit panicky, and with that, they made their run. And so, got to half, it was a 3-point game, and at the end of the day, 9 turnovers. They also had gotten 8 offensive rebounds, so they're 7 or 8, something like that. But we basically increased their possession count by 16, and that was the big message at halftime. The turnovers had to be cut down, and I thought that was the difference. There in the second half, we only turned the ball over 3 times, and Ben made some huge plays. We always have to find a way to make sure, he's out there because he's a winner and he just makes plays. And then obviously Nick got going. We ended up doing some things, they're pressuring so heavy on the perimeter. The middle was open, and we ended up getting him in the middle of it a decent amount, and he made some plays on that little run, and was able to create a little more.
Is it tough to play against a defense like PMI's where it almost forces you to be aggressive in what you do offensively? Because I think, especially when there's not a whole lot of fouls being called, so you have to attack it rather than just kind of take the open shot, because a lot of times you can make a lot of, but you can't consistently do that, so you just kind of have to attack it aggressively, and that's something I thought Ben did a nice job of kind of changing the pace of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to get a little bit more in the paint this game. They've used us. You look at the paint differential in game 1, and we felt like we needed to be a little bit more efficient in the paint. That's really where you have if there is an advantage, it's there at the basket because they're basically going to play you one-on-one. And teams have had some success of scoring one-on-one down there. It's not totally how I understand that. I thought that was one of the things that we were really preaching. We can't take bad twos. And, Coop had a couple bad twos. Ben had one of those bad twos late. But you got to drop it. I mean, you're exactly right. Like, you got to be able to put the ball on the deck. If not, you don't make them pay for the pressure. And so I thought once we kind of settled in and took care of the ball a little bit, shots started going in a little bit. We loosened up a little bit. I think we scored 45 in the second half. So, really at the end of the day, it was a bad, probably 10-minute stretch offensively from the 10-minute mark to halftime that we had to work through.
Coach, even with the turnovers tonight, it seemed like never want those, but you still had 21 assists on 25 made buckets, and so the offense when it's clicking, that's how it needs to click for you guys.
Well, I mean, we were. What do you want to say? You want to say go Furman? Say it. You gotta say it louder. You don't say it now. Say go Furman. This way. You've been around me long enough, Scott. Like, I want the ball to move. I want the synergy of the game to be where the ball's popping. We're always trying to get a 21 and 10 or 20 and 10 night. So we were good with the 21 assists. That's really good. Probably 2 more turnovers than I would like. But I thought we did a good job. You got a microphone. Come on, staff. But I think, you look at it, look where this just came from. Vandy got 4 of them. Nick got 4 of them. So, and then Tom House got 3 of them. So you're getting a lot of that off the ball. And, I thought they did a good job. Vandy had a really good 2-foot play in the first half where we kicked it off for 3. Those are the plays you got to make against the zone. You can't go in there and drive it and all of a sudden take a bad 2. You got to get in there. You got to get it covered. You got to get it reversed. You got to do something to distort the zone. And when we did, we were good. And you know what? I really think we're going to look at that first half. I mean, I think of the 2 back-to-back threes PJ missed. I mean, he's standing wide open on both of them. And it just so happened Nick and PJ were 2 for 9 from 3 in that first half. If they go 4 for 9, which is kind of what their percentages are, you're up 9.5. You probably feel a little bit different about it. You score 36. But that's the game. Game's a make or miss game. And unfortunately, there we had a little bit of a cold spell that was really just exacerbated by a bunch of bad turnovers.
Defensively, I thought there were several key plays, down the stretch. I think one of them was when Edwin Brunson, goes and gets the block on the other end after a turnover. And then I think there were 2 steals right there at the end of the first half that I thought were key that prevented them maybe from having some momentum going into the locker room. Can you talk about those possessions right there where I thought that was key in close game?
It's just when we're at our best. And listen, it's hard when you turn the ball over, missing some shots, whatever, teams go on the run to continue to bring that defensive intensity. But we got to have it. I mean, we have it has to be in us for 40 minutes for us to get the ultimate goal, which is to go win 3 in a row in Asheville. You get to the second media, like 8 minutes in the game, and we got 11 deflections. Well, we're up 10. Like we come out and then all of a sudden, we go a stretch where we only had 2 deflections, and then we get to halftime, and I think we might have had 2 kills. So we weren't tracking on our defensive goals where we needed to track on them. And then but we have spurts. And I think that last play before half, halftime's a funny thing. It's just weird things how plays right before half can carry momentum. And I thought PJ pressured him and got his hands on the ball and stole it. And unfortunately, wasn't able to hang on to it. But he did make an aggressive play there. Ed's block was great. I was proud of him for doing that, especially after just giving it to him. And so it was nice to see him go make an unbelievable play. I've been getting on Ed, some of the fan base has been questioning his athleticism a little bit, and I've been letting him know that in practice. And it's in there. The boy's an athlete now. Okay, you saw that on that play. That's a high-level play. But one thing we learned, when we were going through the whole Slauson process with the NBA draft, is they want functional athleticism. And listen, he's a freshman. He's figuring it out, and we're going to see his explosion is going to continue to develop. But right now, he's trying to continue to find his way in the game. But I'll tell you what else was a huge play was that 3 hit in the first half. That was a huge play. They had a ton of momentum right there. You got to relax.
Coach, so Nick, the last 2 games I've watched of him, he's come on really strong in the second half. Are you good with him being a closer type, or would you see him maybe score a little bit more in the first half, maybe be a little more consistent, or are you perfectly good with him coming on strong in the second half?
He can score as much as he wants, shoot as much as he wants. I told Nick a couple weeks ago, like, I mean, am I seriously going to have to ask you to take more shots? Like, I mean, I'm telling you to go score the ball, right? And it's a really interesting thing with our numbers. This is about the last 2 wins. We haven't updated the numbers since we looked at them. But going into the Sanford game, in our SoCon wins, he scored 21 a night. In our SoCon losses, he's 11 a night. And then in terms of the scoring, but then you look at shot volume, and there's also a big difference. And it was like, hey, if he gets 10 shots up, we're winning most of those games. And so I'm like, hey, like, go shoot 20. Like, we're up 12. He goes, he called it a heat check. I mean, I've seen him make that shot a million times. He goes in the transition and shoots it to go up 15, and he misses it. But I want him playing with that mentality. And as soon as there was a dead ball at timeout right there, I went straight up to him. I said, I love you. Like, I don't care if he makes or misses it. I care about his mindset, right? I don't want him to get lost in the game. Like, I want him to stay aggressive. Because if he doesn't, like, PJ's going to stay aggressive. But when those two are both being aggressive, usually what happens is a third guy emerges because the defense has to now deal with both of those guys. So now, Cooper gets 16 to Sanford, or Ben gets 9 tonight, or somebody kind of emerges. But we need both of those guys, getting after it, being aggressive, really the whole thing. I mean, that's just where we are.
Here's my last question for you. Obviously, Senior Day is special. TJ, Nick had games today, but I thought it was maybe like script worthy to start Senior Day on a bounce pass from Garrett Heem to a front layup from Tyrese Huey. The old guys. I mean, got the first one for you.
Yeah, and I hate we didn't get Tyrese back out there. I feel like he's really given us a little bit of a lift in these last couple of games in situational moments. He had a hand injury, unfortunately, at the Sanford game. And he can play with it, but you can see the bandage and the wrap on it. And Tyrese is somebody that's going to help us down the stretch. I mean, he's a guy that, he's playing with a little bit of like, hey, I'm going to go out there and exhaust myself and play as hard as I can. And Tyrese's been in a lot of big games. And so is Garrett. I thought Garrett gave us some great energy. Tough. He gets the 4th foul, and I didn't get him out immediately, and I probably should have, but I just decided I was just going to ride him out. I wanted him out there, and he picked up the 5th foul right after that. But he's a Jackson, stand up. Sit up. Sit right here. I gotta finish this up. Okay, sit right here. But it's been a fun thing to see both of those guys, finish the year out and really just continue to have a key part of this. And really, to be honest with you, Brett, can you come get him for me, please? Let's do that, okay? Finish this up. That's why he's a great assistant. Multitasker. Here's what I want to say. I'm really proud of both of those guys, and specifically not saying more than Garrett at all. But what Tyrese has had to go through this year, for him to stay engaged is really the heart of what this program's about. And, Tyrese made some big plays in the last couple of games for us. And he could have ejected himself mentally and emotionally, spiritually from the team in terms of just his excitement and all that. And he could have shut this down in December. And he stayed engaged, and he kept leading, and like he kept practicing hard, and he kept talking, and he kept like being a great teammate. And for him to emerge in a role this late in the year and to go out there and just do it to the best of his ability, that's something that like he's not going to totally appreciate all that right now, but when he gets away from it, he's going to be really proud of how he handled that. And in today's time where it's cool to quit, I mean, it's celebrated now. Like, just jump in that portal, right? Like, let them know, like, you got a raw deal. You're a victim, and they don't know you. Like, none of that, right? Like, hey, he's about Furman, and that's why he's been able to stay engaged in this. And Garrett, in a similar note, I mean, I've challenged Garrett really hard this year from a leadership standpoint. And, you know, I've told Gary I'm staying with him. And we are staying with him because, you know, when we win, from an analytical standpoint, when we win, he is our highest efficiency player. Now, that's not just scoring. The scoring actually doesn't change a lot when we win or lose. It's 7 wins and 6 losses. But his effect on the game changes drastically. But in our losses, he goes to the lowest on the team. And I've told him, I said, look, like, how I want you to finish out is I just want you to be able to stay in neutral, right? Like, don't let this thing downshift mentally from a leadership standpoint. Just stay engaged in the game and give us everything you got. And you know, sometimes he can get emotional, as we all know, right? And that can be good and bad. And what we need down the stretch is we need a Garrett that's believing. We need a Garrett that's playing with a tremendous amount of energy and effort. We need a Garrett that's composed, and we need a Garrett that believes like he's the type of player that has 100 wins in that jersey, that has been on big courts and in big games, and this is his moment, right? This is his moment. These last couple of weeks of the season, going into March and going into championship phase, I'm like, hey, like, time to bloom, you know, time to go. And I thought he gave us some good spirit today. I thought he did some good things today. I thought he got off to a really good start. Unfortunately, foul trouble, you know, kept him out there a little bit longer than we had liked. But both those guys, I mean, it's, yeah, I can't say enough about them. You know, there's been a lot of talk about how much we lost last year. It's right, you know, like 7% of our scoring out the door, but we did bring 8 guys back. And those guys coming back and being committed to getting our culture corrected and getting our identity fixed, regardless of how much talent we have or whatever, right? That we're going to be a team, we're going to be a program. And for us to be at 21 wins with 2 games left going into the tournament, you know, the stuff that you know, for anybody to doubt what this team's done, okay, like we're all can get caught up in our successes of how we started and all that, okay, but nobody would have had this team at 21 wins with 2 games left back in July when they thought all our players were gone and we weren't going to be a scoring ball. But then this group puts it together and they come out, nobody can recognize us, and we're defending and we're playing, and all of a sudden it's like we're 13-1, and you know we're supposed to go to Final Four. You know, but like that's not where this thing was in the summer when we were hearing all this stuff about like how they, you know, and those guys have stayed with it. They've handled the success of that, they've handled the adjustments of that, they've handled the pressure of that, and now all of a sudden, you know, you look at it, they've won 6 of their last 9. And is that exactly where we want to be? No, but like it's a lot better than how we started. We're building some momentum. We're playing defensively at a pretty high level. We need to be consistent on offense. We need to take care of the ball. But like this team has given itself a chance to win the way we have to win here, and we've had to deal with some different adversities. And I think that's what makes this group special. And out of our 8 teams, I mean, we've had some great teams. I mean, a lot of unbelievable moments, unbelievable wins. You know, take out COVID, I guess it's 7, 8, 21 seasons. And not saying this is my favorite group or I have a favorite group, but this is one that will always be near and dear to me because a lot of people gave up on us. You know, and a lot of people had this, oh man, like, I mean, how are they going to do it? You know, like, what are they going to do? You know, like, and they didn't. Like, that group didn't. So they put themselves in a position where we got 2 regular season games left. We're going to take them one at a time. And everybody that's covering this league obviously knows everybody can win this thing. And, you know, it's what makes it really fun. It's what makes it really competitive. But could be more proud of how this group has handled different things. And I think it's going to be something to stick with going for the rest of our career. Thank you.